second before I first. But it's not outdated. And as far as girlfriend and boyfriend, I don't think so, because you know, you haven't made that total commitment to be engaged to that person, to get married, so you don't even know if it's going to work to get to that point. So
what is submission? You say yes, but what do you mean yes?
Submission, you both submit to each other, but as a head of the household, the guy has the final say because he's looking out for you as a weaker vessel. So, you know, he'll consider you and discuss what needs to be done. Excuse me? No, I'm saying he'll consider you in every situation, in every circumstance, to say, okay, you know, what do you think or whatever. But the bottom line is that's what he says. He's the head of the household. You ain't got no job and tell your boss what you want him to do. So same thing.
All right, now.
I have a question. The question of, is it outdated? Since us wives submitting to our husbands based on Christ's relationship to the church, that's not outdated. So our relationship is outdated as well.
Thank you.
Well, I think a lot of people have excluded that in their relationships and made it outdated amongst themselves. I personally feel that I submit myself to my husband as long as he's asking me something to do something appropriately, and we come to terms and speak about it. But if it's something that he may ask me to do and I don't agree with it, we do discuss it, and ultimately, according to the Bible, he's head of the household, and it does say submit yourself to your husband. And I do believe in that. It's just, if they're asking you to do something that's just really crazy, of course you don't. But a lot of younger society feels like, no, you don't tell me what to do. And I think that's why a lot of the marriages doesn't work. And you don't simply just cancel out telling you what to do, you discuss it. Because you're not going to agree with everything what your husband said, but you have to be willing to listen and try to come to terms. And he may be wrong. I mean, he has to respect you as well.
Good answer.
If the husband doesn't get the final say, and you get to choose what you submit to, that really submit.
Say that again?
Ooh. That's
I said if the husband doesn't get the final say, whether his decision is right or not is irrelevant. And if you get to choose what you submit to, is that really submitting?
That's on the floor. That's on the floor. Wow. Brother Cedric, you could have left that off camera. That's on the floor. Go with it. Go with it, girls. Come on, give me some answers.
Trying to breathe, you know. That's not true submission. Because, I mean, it's the good and the bad. So if you're going to let him be head, let him be head of everything. He has to answer to God for the wrong choices that he makes on your behalf. So, you know, and you have to...
asking you to break the law?
No. I mean, with the exception of that, because, you know, God is
so then there are some...
Exceptions.
Yeah, but he just said, Christ wants us to do something. So I don't think, you know, if your husband asks you to do something that's not right legally, you know, or something that you're not told.
But I just think you should be able to discuss it. I understand what you're saying. He may be able to see it from my point of view, and I can say, well, we know how they look. I just don't feel, you know, maybe this is a little odd. And he had said, yeah, you know, I think you may be right. But if he strongly feels, okay, look, this is what we're going to do, and he said that, and that's just it, okay. If it's going to start an argument, there you go. And we'll find out the outcome from there.
But I have a question. In real life, shouldn't it be, why should the husband make the final decision? I might be better making a decision at one thing, and he might be better making a decision at one thing. So shouldn't we just come to a meeting of the minds, and whoever is better at that stuff make that decision? Why does the husband have to always be
the decision up front? That's how it's going to work.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah, but who is submitting if I make the decision?
Okay, hold on. Wait.
I'd like to hear from this young lady over here.
You can't breathe.
I can't. Because I'm like, you know, I think, first of all men, you know, aren't qualified to be heads of household, because your man doesn't make you the head of household. How many men don't know how to lead, can't you know, lead their family in the right direction, you know? And sometimes you have people that are in relationships that, you know, aren't equal, like she said, you know. He's not capable, you know, and unfortunately there are a lot of black women out here that are single because you have men who don't know how to be men, and who don't know how to lead. I can submit if you know how to lead.
You married.
If you can make
It's a great question.
You know,
but it doesn't make him a bad man.
No.
It's just that he's not good at decision making, but doesn't make him a bad person, a bad man. It just means some men just go work, bring the money home, honey, here's the money, and the wife spends the money, whatever. I mean, as long as she's not buying 50 pairs of shoes and whatever, but she's not submitting to him then, is she?
Well, I think personally, marriage is supposed to be a partnership. Both of them are supposed to be making decisions
What's different about
together. You know, both of them should be, both husband and wife should be submitting to one another.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If you love and you respect that person, if there's going to be times he's going to make a decision, I'm going to be like, yeah, baby, you know, whatever, you're right. You know, I'm with you. And vice versa, but not just because he's a man. Am I supposed to just say, okay, if I don't agree with it? You know, it's all about
you
respect.
tell him why you don't agree with it.
Jared, hold on, we got Jared back here. I need to hear him.
It all depends on what's our starting point.
That's exactly right.
If our starting point is that we recognize the Bible as the point of authority, then the Bible is very clear on that point, that in God's eyes, the man is the one that he holds ultimately responsible. And there's a principle, you know, that we learned, what I learned when I was in the military, with increased responsibility comes increased authority. So it's unfair, it's fundamentally unfair to hold someone ultimately responsible if they don't have the ultimate authority. You understand that, I think we can all understand that. So that's God's plan. But if we treat the Bible as a reference point as opposed to a point of authority, then we're going to have all these other discussions, and they're valid discussions. But if we recognize the Bible as the point of authority, then we don't really have any say. Now, the real question then becomes, how does that submission look? How does the exercise of that authority look? Because the reality is that the women's lib movement came about because men were being abusive in their display and in their execution of their authority. And so I think women were ripe to kick back against that kind of manipulation and exploitation. The model is, of course, in Brooke, you must have a smart family. Brooke said something earlier, as Christ is the bride, the church is the bride of Christ, and Christ is the model. Husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Christ does not abuse his bride. He does not go around beating his chest. Authority, and we were talking about this earlier today, the only time that Jesus exerted his authority over one of his disciples was when he was having a discussion with Peter just before the Last Supper. And he was trying to wash Peter's feet, and Peter was saying, you can't wash my feet. And Jesus said, well, look, I'm pulling rank on you. If I can't wash your feet, then you can't be my disciple. But if you look at that authority, what he was using his authority to do was to serve. And if men get it right from the biblical concept, they'll understand that true leadership is about serving. And when women come into the realization that God has put that man in that house to be the chief servant, then there's not going to be this fear, this phobia about following and submitting. I know that submitting is a dirty multi-syllable word to most women today. It's because what we've seen is the distortion of that concept. But what we're talking about, and I hope what we're talking about in this setting, is what does God require? And God doesn't just put down arbitrary rules just to frustrate women or men. His plan is a perfect plan. His banner over us is love. He knows what works. I'm going to slide to this last concept, and I'm sorry to stretch it out, but it's so powerfully important. Why is it that there are people in the church who are getting divorced at the same rate, in some cases higher than the people who are not in the church? Why is it that atheists have a lower divorce rate than evangelical Christians? Here's the thing. Just going to church doesn't make you a shoo-in for having a successful marriage. Reading the principles that are in God's Word and submitting yourself to those principles, whether you like it or not, that's the guarantee for success. I'd like to think that Phyllis and I are just these great, wonderful people that have it all figured out. We don't. We've been married for 27 years. But the one thing we figured out is that God's Word and His laws and His principles work. And we've had friends who've challenged and had very different concepts of what a marriage should look like. And those concepts have taken them off to their third, fourth, fifth, and sixth husbands. God's Word works. If you don't have that confidence, then I can't foist it on anyone here, but I'm just testifying today that submission is a powerful thing because it's God's program. And when you sign up and you do it God's way, then He ensures that His policies will enjoy success. So I'm going to leave it at that.